Let's speak about Chalav Yisrael, right? Chalav Yisrael, not Chalav Yisrael. What's the Gemara says that the rabbis decreed that you can drink only Chalav Yisrael. You cannot take any other milk besides Chalav Yisrael. And the reason for that, they did not want to say a reason. Why? Because when you start giving reasons, there's a lot of chachamim, there's a lot of wise people. They always know better than the rabbis, right? So for let's say a few years, they left it anonymous. We don't know. It's a decree, just do. Once you get used to, and then you ask questions, okay, you're already used to, so you don't become too nervous about it. Exactly. Okay. And then they asked them, okay, Rabotenu, it's already a few years we're drinking Chalav Yisrael, we're eating cheese Chalav Yisrael. What's the reason you decreed? They didn't say all the reasons. They didn't say. They said something that everybody can understand. Like on the level of the simple people. They said, because the Goyim, they mix in their milk something fat of not kosher animal, right? Could you explain me, how is it possible? If I take, it in blue, if I take a bottle of milk, right? And do Chalav Yisrael, and I take a same bottle of milk, right? Same bottle of milk, not Chalav Yisrael. Could you explain me why this milk can stay only 5-6 days? Right? And this milk can stay for 2 weeks and doesn't spoil. Why? Cow is a cow. It's the same cow that this milk gives this milk. What's the difference? Right? Has to be, and it has to be, there's something here which is less than 2% that keeps this going. Has to be. Cannot have any other explanation. If this can stay longer than this, and it comes from the same cow, what? The cow is telling him, oh, you're going to be sold cheaper, you stay longer. You're going to be sold more expensive. Doesn't make sense. So the rabbi says they mix. This was said 2,500 years ago, that they mix inside the milk. So in the olden days, they would mix either camel's milk, a little bit, not too much, camel's milk or pig milk. This was the two ingredients they used. Today, they don't need. They have like fat, right, which they can process and mix it in a form of a liquid, which you don't see it like milk. They put a small pill, they drop it. Okay. They came 35 years ago, 40 years ago, to one of the biggest decisionaries, a posek achi gadol of America, right, of Israel, of Moshe Feinstein Zatzal. And they told him, listen, it's impossible the Goyim would put something in their milk. Lama? Because if they're caught by the government, it's big fines. It's big fines. They might even close the company if they catch them a few times. So the rabbi says, so if the reason why the decree, you have to drink Chalav Yisrael when there's a mashgiach watching you, right? Surveying the milk. When they milk, they don't put anything. And when they put it in the tanks, right? The huge tanks over there, they don't mix anything. If this was the reason, and now you're telling me, I'm basing myself what you say, says the rabbi, you're telling me there's the law in the government that you're not allowed to mix anything else? So the rabbi said, in this case, will be permitted to drink not Chalav Yisrael. A lot of people jumped on the Metzia, and they says, Chalav Yisrael is almost $5 a bottle. Not Chalav Yisrael is $2 a bottle, right? I'm saving $3 for each bottle I buy. If I buy 5 bottles, I'm saving $15. Business. Some people, they don't care about religion. They care about how much money they can make or how much money they can save. They don't know when you invest in mitzvot, Hashem gives you back the money. They don't know that. But they're not on the level yet. So people started to buy now, not Chalav Yisrael. Right? And that's how it became, right? So people go to Dunkin' Donuts, they eat donuts, not Chalav Yisrael. People go here, people go there. Up to 20 years ago. 20 years ago, in Baltimore, there is a mashgiach, and he sees there's a vet coming into the herd of cows where the cows are, and this vet, benefit, and he starts to give injections to the cows. He starts to inject the cows. He told him, "Excuse me, what are you doing? What are you doing exactly? Can I know what you're doing?" He tells him, the cow, she eats a lot of stuff, and her stomach becomes full of air, so it can produce less milk. You can have less milk. So you know what we're doing? We're taking a needle, we are piercing the stomach, small hole, minute, and this releases slowly the air. It releases the air, and then the stomach becomes smaller again and can give more milk. This mashgiach said, "This kosher or not?" He called right away the Star K of Baltimore, Rabbi Heineman. He called and he says, "Look what's going on over here." What? They came right away. They closed down the place. They said, no one buys milk anymore. I remember for 3 days, all the Rabbanim, they asked people, don't buy milk or any milk products, nothing. All over America. In Canada, it was everybody. Why? All the rabbis got together to decide if this is kosher or not. Some say it's kosher, some say not kosher. The decision was it's not kosher.
You said to buy milk?
You could not buy nothing. Nothing, because this happened in Chalav Yisrael farm. There was no Chalav Yisrael farm. This happened in a farm which they used to produce Chalav Yisrael. Okay? Now what happened? The rabbis, they decided it's not kosher, right? So they closed up the farm. Then in Muncie, because why? If you pierce the stomach, this cow becomes taref. You cannot eat its meat and you cannot drink its milk. The whole cow is taref. So if the cow is taref, the milk is taref. So in Muncie, they were very strict. What? For sure. If you pierce the lung, it becomes taref. For sure. You pierce the stomach, it becomes taref. So now what happened? In Muncie, they were very strict. Muncie, they told everybody that to bring all their dishes, all the toaster ovens, and to burn. They made a big fire in Muncie. And people came, they were throwing all the dishes, all the toaster oven, the toast. It was crazy what was going on for 1 week. They burnt everything. They told, the rabbis told everybody, you must kosher your kitchen. You must kosher your dishes, buy new dishes. It's porcelain, you cannot kosher them. Other places, they say, you know what? It's taref, but let your dishes wait for 24 hours, and ben yomo. There was a big balagan. There was a decision of all the rabbis in America, now that this balagan happened, in order to have Chalav Yisrael, they demand of the company that they have a special herd of cows that are not injected. No injections. So they accepted, because the Jewish community buys a lot of milk. So they accepted. They make a section which is called Chalav Yisrael, where there's no injections. Okay? So now, it's not anymore a problem if they put something in the milk. It's the cow is not kosher. Right? Okay. OU, they said, this milk is kosher. So how is it kosher? With the injection. How is it kosher?
With the injection.
One second. How is it kosher? This is no question. So they said like this. They said that first of all, out of 200 cows, all of the cows get injections? No. Only the sick cows. When the vet comes and he sees a sick cow, so they said there is more kosher cows, they're not kosher cows. Therefore, they said, the milk, which is not kosher, is mixing with the kosher milk, is batel b'shishim.
Do they know there's more than one?
That's what they said. They said they asked.
So we shouldn't trust the OU then?
I didn't say that. I said I'm just telling you what they said. Okay, I'm just telling you what they said. Okay? So now I'm asking you, if in your house, your maid comes with a sandwich of McDonald's and she eats and she mixes your soup and by mistake a piece falls inside, and you see that and you run to the rabbi and ask him, Rabbi, look what happened. The rabbi looks and, oh, it's okay. I see the piece. Let's take it out. It's a small piece. It's less than shishim. It's less than 60 of the kosher volume, right? So it's kasher. Would you eat it? The rabbi said it's kosher. You would not eat it, right? You would not eat it. Why you eat this? So people don't understand today. People tell you, how can you drink not Chalav Yisrael? What Rav Moshe Feinstein said. First of all, Rav Moshe Feinstein permitted it because they told them what they told them, right? And he himself never did it. He never drank Chalav not Israel. He never eat cheese not Israel. But you know, right, what's going on, it's not anymore mixing in the milk. It's a question of the cow itself. They're telling you batel b'shishim. So I spoke with somebody over here. He told me, no, but he showed me a list of rabbis that permit it. I told him, the list of rabbis that permitted never had that problem, number one. Number two, the list of rabbis that permitted, it was in times where there was no halab, there was no milk, then other than the halab of the goyim. Today, there's so much abundance of Chalav Yisrael, so many cheeses, so many milk products, right? There's not anymore a reason to rely, what was 35 years ago, to say, you know what? Yalla. So what is it going to cost you? It's going to cost you $10 more a week, $40 in the monthly budget, $40, right? This is going to kill you in your budget. This is going to kill your budget, right? To eat kosher 100%, right? So people don't understand this. If people know this, and the OU was asked the question, they were asked the question, and they said, listen, this is our decision.
So when you see a candy or something that says OUD.
Oh, now, they used to have the OU, used to have OUDE, dairy equipment. What does it mean? There is machines where they produce milk. Now, they produce also milk products. After that, they bring products which are parve, which has no milk inside. What they do, they rinse the machine, right? They rinse the machine with acid. Then they clean the machine. Overnight, it stays overnight. And the next day, they do the parve production, whatever it is. It can be wafers, it can be chocolate, it can be cookies, it can be anything, right? The OU used to write OUDE, dairy equipment. You just should know. If you're strict about Chalav Yisrael, you should be strict also about the containers, whatever the right, exactly. So they tell you, you should know, this product is parve, but it was produced on machinery that used to have milk before. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the OU, they saw that the companies do not want to do it anymore, to clean the machine with acid and to wait overnight. What they do, they just inject hot water, they clean the machine, and they do the parve. Now, they themselves saw there was traces of milk, actual milk in the thing, because milk, when it dries, it's sticky. So with the water they did, it was not enough. So what they say we're not going to write anymore dairy equipment because there's actual milk. There's actual milk. So they write OUD. Give you an example. Oreos. You like Oreos? They write a D. There's no milk. Look at the ingredients. There's no milk. Right? Right? What?
The D is for the dairy.
Yeah. It's par, but there's no D. But they write because they're using dairy machines.
Yes,
the cookie company has also dairy product. So
okay. The OUD, from what I understand, that this product is OUD kosher and it's dairy kosher.
no.
If
So
I ate-
okay, so the dairy part, the dairy is if you look in the ingredients, you see there's no milk. And it says on the wrapper, it doesn't contain milk. So why is it D? The D is because it was produced on milk machinery. And they didn't clean it good. So can I eat it after meal? Can I eat Oreos? Yafe. So what is it? Batel be shishim. The milk that's on the machine, the big product of dough, of the Oreos, or whatever they do, it can be anything. It can be cookies, can be anything, right? It nullifies the milk, the traces of milk. The trace is batel b'shishim. So they write D, you should know. Could you eat it after meat? Yes, you could. For Sepharad, not for Ashkenaz. For Sepharad, we say not barnat. Ashkenaz, they don't hold of it, right? So for them is a problem. But some people don't care and they eat it also. Understand? Yes. Chabad would not eat it.
No, I know.
Chabad would not eat it.
That's how I learned it. It's dairy, so this is dairy. And
Exactly.
we keep it.
So always when you see something, a product OUD, can be OKD, can be any, right? You read the ingredients. It says, even clearly, it says no milk. It says clear, it doesn't contain milk because some people are allergic to milk, right? But if you are allergic to milk, you better not eat this. It contains traces of milk. You be right. There's a boy that died. The boy ate such a product, right? It was like a tofu. It was a tofu cheese, right? Fake cheese. And fake cheese, there's no cheese, right? And the boy died. Why? Because there was traces of milk in the machinery. So he was so sensitive that even the trace, how many thousands, 10,000s of cheese like this they made? He was so sensitive that he died, right? So they have to protect themselves. So they write D. They don't write DE anymore. So you're not going to find DE. Very rare you're going to find DE. They write D because they say all companies or most companies do not clean it with the acid and overnight. Huh?
Well, you probably still find products to eat, but it means the same. There are products that have OUD, and if you read the ingredients, they do contain milk.
They do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then there are others that are
exactly. You should check, right? If you're Chalav Yisrael, even if it states clearly no milk, you should not eat it, right? And if you're not Chalav Yisrael, or you want to keep halfway, whatever you want to do, right? Always remember, if you ate meat and you want to eat this OUD, right? Check if it's just the machinery, so it will state in the packages no milk, or if it doesn't say that, and you read the ingredients and you read milk, right? It's milk.
But in this case, let's say that you have a farm where they are not injecting the cows.
Very rare. Very rare, because this is like a government-controlled thing.
A section of the farm that they do not inject the cows.
But how would you know it came from this section? You don't know. Unless they have a mashgiach who's watching the milking and is watching the cows that no vet comes in and injects them, you cannot be sure it's not the case.
So usually in those farms, they produce Chalav Yisrael milk. They will not produce.
But with the mashgiach,
regular OU
right?
milk.
Exactly, with the mashgiach. The OU, right? They say they come. We know they don't mix anything. Even if they inject. So once a month they go, they check everything okay. See you next month, right? Even chalav, even milk, which is called the biological, how do you call it? Organic. They found it's false also. In Mexico, they made the research. There's a woman. Yeah, everything today is organic. They give you plastic to eat, it's organic. It comes from the ground. Everything is organic, but because people buy, they love to see this word. They love to see, unless it's certified. Unless certified, right?
Today, I think organic means that they don't use chemicals to.
Exactly, but even that sometimes is not true. Because if you're really careful, it cannot be next to a field that has a. Right?
Organic. This size.
This is GMO.
I know. Strawberry this size.
Yeah, organic cannot be. Organic cannot be such huge.
הוות שבא ל... אני לא מדבר על החלב עכשיו. הוא בא לזרוק משהו הפרה.
He can't. He can't. A vet cannot touch the cow. He cannot inject the cow. You know they inject chickens.
איך אתה תדע?
אה?
הבשר שאנחנו אוכלים.
What?
הבשר שאנחנו אוכלים. איך אתה תדע?
Oh, so. That's why there's mashgichim. They go, they check the. But they wouldn't inject cows to eat. Milking cows and eating cows are two different cows. There are different types. Milk cow and meat cow are two different types of cows, and they have no interest to inject this cow, a cow which is meat. It doesn't produce milk. Who cares? It doesn't produce milk.
You need some vitamins.
No, they wouldn't give it. They don't care. They just slaughter it, right? So you have to be careful, right? We have to be with cows. You know, they even inject chickens over here in the neck. Avad Yosef has a big responsa in Yabia Omer. So do we eat kosher chicken now? So he says, you know, they try to be careful not to pierce the windpipe. You know, they can pierce the windpipe, right? So he says, he finds all kinds of, but to tell you today, in the food industry, it became so hard. Kosher became so difficult. Pesach food, everything. Problem is, people look for leniencies. They don't care anymore. They go for the price, right? What about kosher style? But people, when we have the Super Bowl, and they're delivering. Once I was in a building, and they had flyers. They had kosher style hot dogs for the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, people don't know, right? I said once to my students, kosher style means it looks kosher. It's a style. Like when you grow your hair like a hippie, you're a hippie style. When you dress the hairstyle.
People look for workarounds to make them feel good.
The kosher style is actually kosher.
It's taref. A shochet told me he was working once in a plant of cows. A mashgiach he was slaughtering the cows. A mashgiach came over and said, Rabbi, come fast. He said, what happened? He says, the other rabbi, every cow, he says it's kosher. He puts a hand, he says kosher. I don't believe you. He says, come. He went to him, and the guy was putting the hand, they slaughtered the cow. You know, they put the hand in the lungs to see if there's no hole. And the guy was putting the hand, taking that, kosher, stamp it, kosher. He told them, what you doing? He says, no, they told me, the high authorities, that they have to give them at least 100 kosher cows. Why? He was working for a company, kosher style. So he said every cow is kosher. So the shochet told me, he heard that, he took off his clothes, and he went out. He said, I'm not working here anymore. That's kosher style. They don't care if they don't check inside, kosher. So what is the kosher style? They slaughter it, but they don't check it if it's kosher or not. Slaughtering is not the whole thing, right? So to tell you, industry today, yes, kosher cost us more expensive. But let me explain you something. The Gemara is telling us there was one goy, right? He had a jam, found a jam. And this jam was exactly missing in the pectoral of the Kohen Gadol. It was missing in the pectoral of the Kohen Gadol. So, Chachmei Israel, the rabbis, came to him and says, what's the price? Any price. The problem is when they came to him, he was sleeping. He's sleeping. No, he was sleeping. So the son opened the door. So he asked the rabbis, what do you want? So he told them, we came to buy.
What's a diamond?
Right? It's not a diamond, it's a different stone, because you know it's 12 different stones.
I know, but it was a diamond. What Yosef, I think.
Yosef is not a diamond. Yosef is something else. Onyx.
The balloon is diamond.
Yeah. So they asked him. So he says, I'm sorry, I'm not waking up my father. But Shamayim, it made a big noise. What? You were able to make $1 million, $2 million. You didn't want to do that. So Min Shamayim, they rewarded this guy that the next year he had a red heifer, a red cow in his herd. So they heard it, Red cow, we need it for Bet HaMikdash, for services. So they came to him, right? They came to him, they ran over. Any price. He says, no, just pay me what you wanted to pay me for the jam, for the stone. That's it. Comes the Maharsha, he says, I don't understand. There's so many stories about Jews doing good things. The Talmud, right? Why did we have to bring this story? And the Gemara, what does it want to teach you? The Gemara is bringing it in the section of Kibud Av Va'em, that this guy did not wake up his father. What? There's no Jews that didn't wake up their father or did something good. Mikol HaSipurim, from all the stories. And the Talmud is not storytellers. The Talmud is learning lesson, right? So I tell you, the Maharsha, listen to the Maharsha. He wrote it like 400 years ago. He wrote the following thing. The Talmud is trying to teach you, the rabbis, when they came to buy the stone and the cow, they said any price. If it's for Jewish purposes, I don't care about the price, I pay. He's telling you, Am Yisrael, when it comes to mitzvot, they pay, they don't care, because they know, they have to have this emunah, that Hashem gives you this money back. Your money is written Rosh Hashanah. So you're going to pay, let's say, $100, $200, $500 more a year for food, kosher food. Glad kosher food means 100%. Those $500 are going to come back to you. Don't worry, right? So what are you making cheshbon now? I'm making $2. I'm buying not Chalav Yisrael. I can do $2 on a pack. I'm saving $2, $3, $4. Not true, but let's say that's what you're making cheshbon. How much you're saving a year, right? $200, $300. For that, you're going to dig no Chalav Yisrael. In the olden days, they didn't have the abundance we had. Today, we have so much abundance. You go to Israel, they have those fridges. You go to New York, they have those fridges from here to the next block, just with Chalav Yisrael, things that you never saw in your life. So many milk products, right? Everything you want. Even even in France, they have all the goyish camembert and brie and everything, right? So what for a few dollars you're willing to sell your religion, right? So those people want to say, no, I'm comfortable, don't. The problem is, very important people do that. And when you talk to them, they don't want to hear. No, Rav Moshe Feinstein. Why? Rav Moshe Feinstein said so many things. You follow everything he says, or you follow what's comfortable for you? And Rav Moshe Feinstein never himself drank this milk, right? So don't tell me the rabbi said, it's you hear what you want to, you take what you want to take. That's the idea.
More or less the same issue. So really, what is the difference between OU, Star, MK?
All these are standards of kashrut. Like the best kashrut in the world today is Badatz Yerushalayim. There is Rav Landau. There is kashruyot that they're known for the high standards. They don't let anything pass.
We don't see those.
Huh?
We don't see them. OU is the most popular one.
In America. But in Israel also now.
Even K.
Yeah.
So
But in America, you have so many good kashrut.
Star K?
Star K is a very good kashrut, Baltimore. There's a star with 5 points and a K inside.
The circle K, or triangle K.
Triangle K. Triangle K.
No.
Triangle.
Yeah, there's הרבה. There's a lot. When we talk about kashrut once, well, we speak. But
Basically, OU.
OU is the biggest. They're everywhere, right? But some people do not eat OU. And some people do count on it, right? But right now, we're not speaking about OU. You know, OU is one of the, OU, wherever you go in the world, you're going to find OU. They give you the possibility, they give you the possibility to eat kosher anywhere in the world. You go to Spain, you go to here, you go to here. You always find, you go to a supermarket, you'll find OU. Somebody told me he went to Spain, he went to a supermarket, he told me it's a huge supermarket. He found a section with OU products. And he bought kosher. I can buy fish, you can buy, it's okay. But when it comes to milk now, we're not speaking about what's good, what's not good. We're not speaking OU is good. No. We're not speaking about that. Their policy, this is their policy. Okay? Batel b'shishim. Not all rabbis accept that. And why should you accept that, b'diavad? It's only after fact. It's after fact. We don't know, so we say batel b'shishim. But if I can have kosher 100% milk, Chalav Yisrael, why should I rely on that, right? So the idea is, you have to invest in kosher food. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.